Good evening. Dynamic in my mind. Typically,
that this stuff has happened. We down. Hold on.
wow.
Of course, and more specifically, Israeli made, IDF made. And if you're okay with starving children and you're still defending it, you're a bit of a monster, or maybe a lot of a monster.
And there's a freedom flotilla that's trying to break the siege. What do you think?
I think the world's nations should all be doing freedom flotillas. And let's call out not just America, not just Europe, but almost all the countries. So you're not trying to get food to starving Palestinians because you worship Israel? Why? Why would you give any respect to a disgusting terrorist government? It's like saying, oh, no, I wouldn't want to help people that are being killed by ISIS because I respect ISIS too much. What a weird, terrible, disgusting thing to say. So at this point, Israel's obviously a terrorist state. So, I mean, there's no point in defending. If you're still defending Israel, there's something morally wrong with you.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Kamal.
I'm Enzo.
Heaven, you're muted.
Yeah, you muted.
I'm Heaven.
We have a special guest tonight, Heaven. She's our newest member of the Man Cave. So we're so excited to have her tonight. So yeah, shout out to Heaven. Let's send some cheers for Heaven. But tonight, guys, we got a very jam-packed night for you. We are going to be talking about Gaza at the end. But before we kick it off about Gaza, there was an unfortunate incident that happened yesterday in New York City. There was a shooting, and it's definitely unfortunate that it happened. We're going to give details because there was a lot of misinformation that came out yesterday. But this is some clips for it.
Side of that building. That's, I don't know, that's 345 Park Avenue, a live shooting.
So what we do know is that this occurred yesterday at 345 Park Avenue. It is the headquarters for Blackstone and for the NFL. But yesterday, the media was saying a lot of misinformation. The first thing that they said was it was a suspected white man. Gray, what's your thoughts on the shooting yesterday and all the misinformation that was coming out?
I heard people saying something about a CNN clip about them saying it was a white man. I mean, that could have been an honest mistake. He kind of light-skinned, so I don't think that was like necessarily nefarious. But I think people like want to get the story out so quickly they'll say anything. So I mean, like there is a lot of misinformation, and what we live in now is where you get news instantly, rather than like actual reporter have to go talk to an editor and then somebody else looks at it before it pushes out.
Yeah, the other misinformation is that he was a police officer. Enzo, you said you heard that he was, but come to find out, he drove cross country from Las Vegas. He was not a law enforcement officer, to be clear. He was a security officer for a hotel. Enzo, what are your thoughts? He was also a registered gun owner as well. So to be clear, he didn't illegally obtain a gun. He legally owned the gun. Enzo, as somebody that lives in the tri-state area, what do you think about what happened yesterday?
So I think it's absolutely terrible for the people that unfortunately lost their lives in the situation. Like I said, I thought it was a police officer because I saw some badge thing with his face on it that said Las Vegas Police Department. However true that was, obviously that was misleading in any capacity. Um, the legality of owning a weapon and everything like that. I'm waiting to hear now we need to ban assault rifles. We need to ban AR-15s and everything like that and not address the real issue of what I've learned, why he committed this crime, either he suffered from CTE or something to that effect. Maybe that's not why he went and did it. He probably had issues and what led him to it, but that's the real issue when it comes down to mass shootings and everything like that that I look at is the mental health of these people who do these crimes, not the weapon who does it. I say this all the time. It's cheaper for everyone to say, let's just ban these weapons and not actually fix the issue of what's going on with these people. So,
Yeah, fair enough. And I'm going to play another clip and then I'll let Kamal and Heaven comment. This is actually what the dude looked like. He did not look anything like a white man or Kamal. Let's play the clip.
Running back Shane Tamira from the Granada Hills football team. Big 35-31 victory against Kennedy tonight. The battle for Granada Hills. Shane, just talk about you guys getting that win tonight. How'd you guys come through?
We definitely had to stay disciplined. We were down 10-0. And we definitely had to stay disciplined. Our coach kept saying, don't hold your heads down, don't hold your heads down. We just had to stay disciplined and come together as a team.
Shane, a couple of touchdowns for you, including a huge one late in the game there in the fourth quarter with under 4 minutes to go. That put you guys up 35-24, sort of sealed the game there for you guys, gave you guys a nice cushion. Take us through that play right there, jailbreak screen right there. Then you broke free about the 50-yard line and then took it to the house.
Well, our coach basically asked me, he was like, Shane, is the T-screen open? Is the T-screen open? I was like, yeah, it's definitely open.
So why I played that clip is the reason why they're saying he went there is because he had a CTE, a head injury from playing football. He was an NFL hopeful at one point, and the NFL is housed there. And in his, I guess, his manifesto or his note, he mentioned the CTE, saying that it caused him mental illness, it caused him issues. Heaven, what's your thoughts on that clip and the mental illness capacity attached to this?
I've had multiple traumatic brain injuries, actually, from my military service. I own weapons. I'm not going and shooting anyone up. Do I have reason to? Maybe. But I'm not doing it yet. So, I mean, they can say whatever they want to. Anytime there's a note or a manifesto or something, it kind of gives me the ick on the whole story. It's always a manifesto. Does everybody write a manifesto or a note? And from my understanding, I don't think the NFL was on that floor that he went to.
Well, he did shoot an NFL employee.
See, there goes the misinformation. All right. So I don't know how many people got shot because, misinformation, but
4, 5.
I don't think
4 was killed, 1 was hurt.
I don't think it's an excuse at all.
Well, come on. They said it was a white man. Turned out it was him. They also try to say that this had connections to some unrelated Palestinian protesters. What do you think about the media always twisting things and getting things wrong? Big things like that.
Well, shit, the shoe on the other foot this time, ain't it? God damn, it's like a knee slapper. Mistaken identity, huh? Shit. We Us black men, we used to that shit, ain't we? God damn. Now it's the other way around. Jesus Christ. But I will say this though, at least he didn't say he hate niggas in the manifesto, because some, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, like, I know bro is black and all, but when I hear manifesto, all I hear is I hate niggas, so I'm about to kill some niggas. Every manifesto, except for he probably the first manifesto where I didn't hear that line. Every other manifesto deals with that shit. You know what I mean? And then
what about a Unabomber?
Did you read the fine print? I think the fine print said, I hate niggas. I'm pretty sure. It's on somewhere in that manifesto. I'm just saying they shooting at a high percentage when it comes to manifestos and them saying they hate black people. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the CTE thing needs to be taken more serious.
True.
Yep.
Like that needs to be taken more serious. I think they need to start doing that shit because they having these kids play fucking Pop Warner football. That's where they develop the CTE at. You know what I'm saying? It's right in that Pop Warner. That's middle school, y'all. You think they ain't creating brain damage, smacking each other at full force?
100%.
He said it was from high school in his manifesto. He believes that the NFL covers these brain injuries and it needs to be exposed. We're actually going to talk about that tomorrow night on the Man Cave. Gray's going to have clips that explain it because it is something that needs to be talked about. Football season is right around the corner. And listen, hot take, I do believe that the NFL, it's modern day slavery. That's all I'm going to say. The way they treat these players after they're done playing, they treat them like ish. They treat them bad. They have no pension. They don't have anything. Come on, what's your thoughts on the NFL and the way they treat the players? Majority black players at that.
Nora, I thought we wasn't talking about conspiracies.
That's not a conspiracy. I have people that I know personally that have multiple Super Bowl rings, and no, they don't get treated great afterwards. No. And they still have to do these little like random things to make money just to continue to be able to live the lifestyle that the NFL provided for them. And it is modern day slavery.
Well, one of our cast members' nephew is in the NFL. He plays for the Steelers, Slim. So
nice.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on the interview. Slim, if you're watching, make it happen before the season starts, please. Just kidding. No pressure. All right, guys, we're going to switch gears here. We're going to talk about Obama, where we're at with the investigation and what can be done. If you guys are watching, please hit the like button. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get the likes up, and here we go.
But President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
Yeah, and of course. Okay, guys, so I want to remind everyone about some things about Obama. We're going to touch on it tonight. Obama has not been a stranger to investigations. Fast and Furious gun walking operation led to congressional inquiries and contempt citation for Attorney General Eric Holder over withheld documents. The embassy attacks in Benghazi, which you know Hillary Clinton was attached to. The IRS targeting controversy. Scrutiny of political groups applying for tax-exempt status. Ultimately, no criminal charges were filed. The NSA surveillance abuses, including mass collection. Section 7 502 violations and journalist unmasking prompted lawsuits like Clayton versus Obama. Most resulted in civil rulings rather than prosecution. So to be fair, this is not the first time Obama's been under hot water. But however, Supreme Court rulings recently have him protected from immunity. Enzo, what's your thoughts?
So, my whole thing on this situation is he should be held accountable. With the whole immunity thing, you're immune under official acts of the presidency. I know Trump came out the other day and said, "Well, Obama's fine. He can't really be charged." I don't think that's really going to hold up. I'm not taking fucking Trump's word for that whatsoever. I want to know how undermining the will of the American people and subverting conspiracy against the election is an official duty of the president of the United States. Because if we don't remember, there was already a case against Donald Trump that they tried to put against him, and that wasn't ruled on in that case. What they ruled on in that case was the immunity for the classified documents. So, I mean, what is really going on here? And if that's the case, if he has immunity, then what can a president really get away with? Like, can he just go do anything? If that's the case, then a president should never be impeached because that's an official action under the acts of the presidency at the end of the day. So I don't agree with whatsoever. If he could be not tried for this whatsoever, he should be, and everyone around him should be.
You just said a lot. I'm gonna have our resident Democrat respond. Gray, are we gonna see an impeached Obama? Is it gonna happen?
How will he be impeached? He's not president.
Well, that's the other thing that they're saying, that they want to impeach him. I'm not making that up. I read that in an article that they're going to try to go back. So basically, they're going to try to null and void his presidency. And that's most likely what they're going to try to do, supposedly, because they're not going to be able to arrest him for official acts because he was the president at the time. I'm not making this up. That's what I read, that they're going to try to get his presidency null and void. Is it possible? I mean, what do you think?
If we go back and look at presidencies, and we look at Ronald Reagan, the Iran-Contra thing, literally selling drugs for the government when he wasn't supposed to do anything with Iran. Richard Nixon continuing the Vietnam War when he was running for presidency. But all these presidents do stuff, and we're never going to really see them get convicted. None of them, because think about it. If they actually went to prison, like, what, a Secret Service going to live there? Are they going to put them in a castle? Like, what consequences are they really going to suffer? So I just feel like probably a lot of presidents have broke the law, have done things that they weren't supposed to do. But I feel like the people feel like they don't want such a blemish on American history that they put a president in any type of prison or any type of breaking the law and them suffering any type of consequences.
Oh man. Kamal, Mr. Apolitical, what's your thoughts? Is this a big nothing burger, or will we see something from this? And will you be sad if Obama gets convicted?
Hell no, I wouldn't be sad if Obama got convicted. The fuck? That motherfucker didn't give a fuck about our lineage. F that guy. But to be real, he ain't gonna go to jail. And why the fuck would he get impeached? Why y'all trying to Reggie Bush, bro? Y'all trying to take, bro, like Heisman way. Like, what's going on? You feel me? Now, we need to start questioning Obama why he's trying to push a certain agenda on kids. That's what I'm more worried about. Or the real investigation, bro, what happened to your pool boy, bro? How he just drowned mysteriously?
The chef. He's the chef.
Okay, pool boy, chef, Boyardee, tomato. You know exactly.
Was it true that he was on the premises too? I heard that he was there when it happened.
Oh, the Obamas were both there.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I didn't know if it was true or not.
Didn't they make the call?
I don't know.
I think so, or their Secret Service did, because he has Secret Service for life.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So impeachment. I was literally about to look up what president has been impeached. I think it's only been one president that's been.
I think it was Clinton.
It was Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Well, let me look it up.
Trump was technically impeached once.
Technically.
Impeached
Yeah,
by
by
Yes,
the
Bill
House.
Clinton was impeached. He was impeached, but he was not removed.
he got
Because he stepped down, right?
Yeah. Well, no,
He-
he just they
This
let him.
was term.
I don't think it passed. It didn't pass it didn't pass
The Senate.
not Congress, the Senate. It passed the Congress
Yeah.
though.
It's the same
Okay,
thing with Trump then.
I'm
It's a House impeachment, but the Senate didn't convict.
yeah, it says it right here. So it don't fucking matter. Like if the Senate didn't approve it, it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
do this violation. Yeah, so it's only been Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump. Man, this impeachment shit don't mean nothing at this
How
point.
many of them are on the Epstein list? That's what I want to know. Still. So,
Huh? Heaven, what's your thoughts on all of this?
I'll show you.
Get them all out. All of them. Every single one of them.
Start
Every
with
single
Bill.
one. I don't care. I don't. All of them, top to bottom, because it's all rotten. And start fresh. Fresh faces, fresh people, fresh ideas. Because we're turning back the clock, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
All
I
right,
do. I
guys.
have lots of feelings about that, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I mean,
I do.
it's
Lots of
it's a
them.
lot to be said about these presidents. And guys, shout out to Heaven and Gray. They served in the military. Heaven, how long were you in for?
15.
Whew,
15
I almost got
active duty.
my baby daddy beat. He did 23. That's a long time.
Heaven probably doesn't remember this, but Heaven, you're one of the first people I met at Fort Drum.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's yeah. It happens. Was I HR at that point?
No, we were in the same unit.
I was still a cook.
I don't remember.
TBI.
Heaven, was Gray a good soldier?
I don't remember.
Where's Doc at? We need the stories, Doc.
But I also, hey,
What
to
was
be
it with the
fair,
rental,
I was in an infantry unit, and I was a complete jerk because I had to be. I was around
survive as a woman.
infantrymen
Yeah.
all day. Over 500 men around, only 6 females. And to be honest, the military, I mean, the Army doesn't have the best looking females, but I mean,
you're pretty, Heaven.
Thank you. I also don't. I mean, I hear that and I appreciate it. I don't feel it, so it's different. I don't know.
All right, guys, we're going to transition on. We're going to talk about the topic of the night. Let me start by saying, anybody watching, these are some strong images to see. I would suggest having children leave the room. The views of Nora Christine are not the views of Gray Mars or the New Party. Let me start by saying that. But I'm going to need the Zionists to come to the front of the congregation tonight. We're going to have a come to Jesus meeting tonight, because it comes a point where you can justify certain things. But now, level 5 starvation has hit Gaza. Level 5. I didn't make this up. This is from World Health Organizations. This is from reputable news sources. However, we're being told, don't look over there. It's all lies. I have clips of the IDF not allowing journalists to film outside of camps. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Haven't you raised your hand? What do you want to say?
I just wanted to note that on June 26th of this year, Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper, noted that there are over 100,000 deaths. We're still being told numbers that are not even comparable to what's actually happening on the ground.
I mean, the numbers I'm hearing is 450,000 possibly. I mean, the official numbers that the Palestinian Register are saying is 60,000. And the reason why the numbers keep changing, guys, this is something everyone needs to understand, is there are people trapped under the rubble of the buildings. They have not found their bodies. There's only been 60,000 found bodies. However, there are hundreds of thousands of people missing. Children in particular, missing. Children. So,
registry's gone. There's no way to
yes.
track the people that are missing either, because when an entire family gets displaced or wiped out, who is there to speak to who is missing? Especially when all of the historical documents and civil registries have been destroyed.
So, oh no, it's okay. No, Heaven, you
We
gotta
also
speak on it because yeah.
we were I don't it skipped past a lot of us, I'm sure, but back in 2024 our Congress voted to not cite any numbers, the death toll statistics from Gaza.
Yes.
That was in the amended appropriations bill. So that was kept from Americans so that we specifically don't know the numbers of the dead.
Right. Go ahead.
But today, the UK, they announced that if there's not a deal made by September, they are going to recognize Palestine. Let me play this clip from their prime minister.
Humanitarian crisis to an end is through a long-term settlement. So we are supporting the US, Egyptian and Qatari efforts to secure a vital ceasefire. That ceasefire must be sustainable, and it must lead to a wider peace plan, which we're developing with our international partners. I've always said that we will recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution. With that solution now under threat, this is the moment to act. So today, as part of this process towards peace, I can confirm the UK will recognise the State of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, agree to a ceasefire, and commit to a long-term sustainable peace, reviving the prospect of a two-state solution.
Yeah, guys. So this is big that he said that. He's saying that they need to agree to ceasefire. They need to permit free humanitarian aid. They need to halt any West Bank annexation. They are recommending a two-state solution. This is symbolic. Gray, what's your thoughts on his comments today?
I understand that he's trying to threaten them, and he's using that because that has a lot of religious sentiment to it, because basically the reason Jews feel like they're entitled to that land is because of the Bible, because of the Torah and what it says, that they were there. Then when Jesus was resurrected, they were forced from the land, and then now they've come back. So for them, the name Palestine, Israel feels like Palestine doesn't exist. So by them saying that Palestine exists, symbolically, they're attacking their right to the land. So I understand what they're using as a threatening measure to get negotiations.
Enzo, you study a lot of military things. Somebody has a question in the chat. I want you to answer the question. If you don't know, it's okay. I'll pass it along to someone else, but I know you study this stuff. So if every time Israel agrees to a ceasefire or offers land, Hamas attacks Israel in the most brutal way, then what is Israel to do? Yet they give warnings to civilians which is very rare in war, and they provide aid to the civilians of their opponents, also rare in war.
So what is Israel to do? I'm kind of biased on this side because I don't agree with what Israel's doing whatsoever. Even if they're giving warnings or not, Israel's not abiding by that. We saw how surgical Israel could be, ironically, with Iran and what they were doing. They showed how surgical they could be. At the beginning of this war, when I was looking into it, I thought, like, listen, these are casualties of war at the end of the day. Civilians are gonna unalive. The people that are in Gaza are sympathizers to Hamas and everything like that. And then Nora, thankfully, is one who really opened my eyes to everything. I was never for Israel whatsoever. I'm going to preface that. I just didn't care. I really didn't care. I thought it was just a military operation, two conflicts fighting it out. and whoever's on their side is just sympathizers at the end of the day. Nor opened my eyes, showed me everything that I need to know about this. Israel, we know what they can do. They have our technology. They can be surgical about this to take out Hamas. They're not at the end of the day. What is going on over there? And this is the views of mine, not everybody on the panel, guys. Is absolutely terrible. They need to be sanctioned. The world needs to come together to stop this. Not just the United States, not just Britain, not just Egypt, Jordan, all the surrounding countries in the Middle East, in Africa, Europe, everywhere. Everybody needs to come in and condemn this at the end of the day, because this is terrible. I'm not okay with America being complicit and giving them the weaponry to do this. That's really all I gotta say right now.
I understand it's hard to talk about. Kamal, Israel said this is a reward for Hamas. Do you think this would be a reward for them if in September they acknowledge them as owning the land and get the two-state solution?
Man, I'm gonna be a thou out with y'all. I ain't an expert when it comes to this subject matter, but I know them motherfuckers been fighting for centuries. Sometimes you just gotta, if you don't know what you talk about, you shouldn't say shit at all. And this is one of the moments.
I understand.
You feel me? I ain't gonna say something and I don't know much about it. I just know they've been fighting for a very, very long time. And when it comes to anything with kids, it's fucked up. That's all I gotta say. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, Kamal, we're going to let you learn tonight and be an observer, and we appreciate that. So thank you, Kamal, for being open to learn. Roses and Lily said, Heaven, I'm going to let you respond. Well, the Iranians weren't hiding their nuclear weapons in schools and hospitals, so they were able to be surgical. As a former member of the armed service, thank you for your service. What's your thoughts on that?
There were no tunnels under the schools and in the hospitals. There was no actual evidence of tunnels or military operations in or around schools. And there hasn't been. The fact of the entire thing, regardless of how many years, generations, and what's gone on in the past 76 years, because that's how long it's been. International law, humanitarian law, we have laws of war that are meant to be followed. And those were broken in 2023 and have continuously been. And us as Americans are complicit and culpable in this because we have been supplying them with the bombs that they have been dropping. This has globally been recognized as a genocide. It is by definition a Holocaust, because I personally have seen many, many videos of people being burned alive. And that's what by definition a Holocaust is. We need to use proper language, and everyone needs to understand what the actual definitions of the words that they're using are. Because this is a genocide, this is a Holocaust, and this is a forced starvation and ethnic cleansing of an area, regardless of whatever the history is. What it is right now is what it is, and we said never again. And we are watching it happen before our eyes.
Heaven, don't get into it now, but Shelley said, I can't listen to Yanks talking bollocks. Us Irish, no, Ireland has always stood with Palestine. Guys, before in the pre-show, we were all talking. Heaven is actually of Irish descent. I'm going to have Heaven get into it in the next clips as we talk about the famine, what's going on, because she said she agrees. So let's be mindful, chat. You don't know who you're talking to, but thank you, Shelley, for your thoughts. Also, guys, there was a comment that said something. Rose and Lily says, I think it's beautiful when people come together because they care for other people. I applaud you guys, but just consider the other side as well, because Israel is also a victim. Let me start by saying we at the New Party have been considerate of Israel. In fact, I was very pro-Israel, Ray can tell you, for months. For months, I was pro-Israel. As a Christian, we are taught these are the chosen people, and I'm not going to debate that tonight, to be clear. But that's what I was taught as a Christian. Also, I am of half North African descent. I am a descendant of Muhammad. Even despite that, my family denounces what has been done to Israel. My family is friends with people in the Israeli government. Moroccans have been a friend to Israel for decades. So let me be clear when I say I am unbiased in that regard. I don't believe in the conspiracies, and we're going to get to that later tonight. I don't support anti-Semitism in any way, shape, or form. Some of my closest friends are Jewish people, but I condemn what the IDF is doing. Simple, point blank. Kids is where I drew the line. Once I realized how many kids and this affected, that's where I said, I can no longer support this. This is where I draw the line. So to be clear, I am not anti-Semite. I don't condone that. And we're going to get to that as well. But the next clip we're going to play is we're going to shift gears, and I'm going to show both sides. I'm going to show a clip from Charlie Kirk. He is one, I think, the biggest, what do you call it, Zionist? Me and Gray went to his event. He's a very pro-Zionist person, very pro-Israel person. And we're going to have both sides tonight. Here's a clip of Charlie Kirk with a rabbi saying that there's no starvation. Our lying eyes are lying to us.
To make it seem as if Israel is intentionally starving the people of Gaza. I hate being lied to, especially by the media networks. They lied to us about COVID. They lied to us about the vaccines. They lied to us about open borders. They lied to us Hunter Biden laptop. Joining us now is Rabbi Walicki, a great friend, and thank you so much for defending me the other day. Rabbi Walicki, you're also the YouTube, people can find you on YouTube, Israel 365. Rabbi, let's just go through the facts here, and then let's get into the lies. What is the situation in Gaza as the truth would bear it out, not the New York Times propagandist network?
Well, if we're talking about the starvation lie, and thank you, Charlie, thank you for having me on to talk about this. It's so important because this is really pure propaganda, as you say. So since the beginning of the war, since October 7th, the whole issue of the food getting into Gaza and how much food is getting in has been weaponized by Hamas and by the whole pro-Hamas crowd. And what they're doing most recently is claiming that there's a starvation crisis. The quantities of food, I'm not going to get into the weeds of the numbers, but the quantities of food that have been brought into the Gaza Strip since the beginning of the war and month over month is enough to feed the Gaza Strip, according to the World Food Program's numbers for what it takes to feed people, for longer than this war has gone on, for about 27 months worth of food. And there's plenty of food getting into the Gaza Strip. But what's happening is that Hamas is trying to perpetuate this narrative that Gazans are starving because starting about 2 months ago, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is run by Americans and is in cooperation with the Israelis, has started distributing food, started distributing humanitarian aid directly to the people of Gaza. And why is that important? Because until they started doing that, the only way for Gazans to get food was to get it from Hamas. All of the tons and tons of food, all the truckloads of food that have been coming into the Gaza Strip as humanitarian aid since the beginning of the war until 2 months ago were brought in by United Nations organizations that were working hand in glove with Hamas. It was going directly to Hamas, and then Hamas would sell it at exorbitant prices to the people, hoard it for themselves, take all the fuel to fuel their war machine, use it to recruit new recruits into Hamas, and it was basically Hamas's oxygen. The estimates now by the United States, by the State Department, is that Hamas has made approximately $500 million just from selling aid to the people of the Gaza Strip since the war has began. So Israel has realized for a long time that this is a problem because while the aid has to get to people, the aid is also fueling Hamas. So 2 months ago, they started this new program where in areas that are under Israeli security control on the Gaza Strip, they distribute the food directly to the Gazan citizens. All the aid is supposed to be free. In fact, there are videos and pictures online of packages marked not for sale being sold by Hamas vendors to the people of the Gaza Strip. So what's happening now is because food is being distributed directly to the Gazan citizens at these distribution centers, that's cutting off Hamas's oxygen because the people can get food directly from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. They don't have to pay exorbitant prices to Hamas, and Hamas is both losing control of the population and also losing their cash flow. So they started perpetuating this starvation narrative really just over the course of the last couple of weeks. It has no basis in fact. We see this even from the Gaza Health Ministry, which is Hamas's own numbers for casualties for deaths throughout this war. There's nobody dying of starvation in the Gaza Strip. But you could also see it looking at the pictures on your screen right now. We know what starving people look like. These are Gazans. They're not emaciated. They're not starving. The people of Gaza are not starving. But Hamas needs to.
I can't take it anymore. I fucking can't take it. That is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard. Tons of news organizations have come out and said over 50 people have died this week alone from starvation. Children dying. Are lying eyes lying to us? Also, people are going to these food places. I want to put this out there, and they're getting shot by the IDF. I don't know what the media is telling you guys, but that is fact. Nia, thank you for joining us. What's your thoughts on what you just heard?
I think, Gazan people that lived in the Gaza Strip were starving before this war. So all of a sudden now, like, there's all of this food. I mean, I don't understand why these people think that none of us have VPNs, that we can't get this information on our own. Like, we can't see the pictures, we can't see the videos, like, we can't interact, or we don't interact with Palestinians that are there. Like we don't know. Like, some of us don't have international VPNs. Mm-hmm. We can circumvent the firewalls of the United States and actually see this stuff on our own. I think it's wild to me. Like, these people were in rough shape and starving before the war. I can almost guarantee you it's 1,000 times worse now. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to allow a Jewish person who has everything to gain from winning this so-called war tell me everything's fine. Okay, I'm sure that's what Hitler was telling the German people. Everything's fine. Don't look at the camps, guys. Everything's fine. It's great over here. They're fine. We're feeding them fish and shit. Come on, dude. That's retarded. That
sounds like America right now, actually.
I mean, that's so ignorant. I mean, it's crazy. You're going to sit there and you're going to put a rabbi, and he's probably a nice guy. I don't know him personally, but he could be a nice dude. We're going to put a rabbi in front of me who has everything to gain from pushing this narrative that these people are fine, to sit there and give us some disinformation. Like, okay, whatever, dude. Whatever. If people want to live with their head in the sand.
I'm also an ordained minister, also.
Oh yeah, you did. I did see that, Heaven.
Yes, yes. They got ordained right after I got out of the military. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you answer next, and then we'll let the guys get in here. Roses is asking, what's the solution? Because every time Israel and Hamas agree to a ceasefire, Hamas breaks it and attacks. And when Israel offers land, Hamas, I guess she said that they denies it.
So if somebody comes into your house, you let them come. You're like, hey, come on, come stay for a little while. You need a place to stay. It's cool. And then all of a sudden one day they're like, nah, you get your bedroom. I got the rest. Fight me for it. But they have all the weapons, every knife, every gun, everything. And you're just stuck in your bedroom. They say what goes in and goes out of your bedroom. They lock you in your bedroom. And then they offer you the closet too. I know, fuck you. And no, I don't want the closet. No, get out of my house. Get out of my house. Would that not, I mean, is that not a similar scenario?
I mean, Hamas
after the Holocaust, Jews were invited to Palestine by the Arabs to say, hey, no one else, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why we had our immigration laws how we had them, because we turned away a ship of Jewish immigrants that were trying to escape the Holocaust. And we said, never again will we turn away an immigrant. And now that's another story for another day. But
and so I'm gonna come to you next. Gaza is coastal, right? Is Israel blocking all ships? Yeah, they're blocking the what do they call them? The flotillas. Do you know anything about that, Enzo? Yeah.
They still have Chris Smalls. Christian Smalls is a U.S. Activist. He is still in Israeli custody. He has been detained by the IDF, and he has been physically assaulted by the IDF. He was the only black person on the flotilla, and he is the only person that has not been released, and he was the only person that has been assaulted, and he is an American citizen, and we are doing nothing about that as our government.
So to answer King's question, they are blocking. They are not allowing ships to come in. There are freedom flotillas that have tried to come in. Greta Thunberg was on one of them. Enzo, what's your thoughts?
So, the sad thing is, I like Charlie, I do. But when it comes down to this issue, him and the rabbi are the last two fucking people I want to hear saying that nothing's going on. You're literally paid by AIPAC, bro. The rabbi, Hasidics, they get money from Israel. Of course you guys are going to say none of this is going on. Of course, because you guys are paid to say this stuff. Like, that's fine. Get your money. But, like, bro, like, at the end of the day, like, there's some legit shit going on. People are unaliving all day long because of what you guys are doing to them. I think it's ridiculous that Israel is the one who's protecting these UN convoys and everything coming in. I'm not falling into the bullshit and saying Hamas is taking everything and just selling it to the people. That's ridiculous. I've never heard in war, in a humanitarian crisis, where the country that is attacking or retaliating is the one who's protecting the food to give to the civilians on the other side. Why is we as the United States is giving them arms but not doing what we did in 92 in Somalia of protecting the food to give to the civilians? Why are we not doing that? Why is no country doing that? Why is it left to Israel when we know they're going to commit these atrocities? We've known these atrocities have been going on. Why is the world still complicit in letting this go on? We know why the United States is, but why is the world sitting by watching this, saying we're going to give them until the 10th of September? Why are we not stepping in now? This needs to be done now. Like, granted, if they get a deal done by the 10th or if nothing happens by the 10th, who knows what's going to be left in Gaza by the 10th when this is happening every day.
Well, they're starving them out. I'm going to play another clip and then I'll let Gray and Kamal respond first. Pretty much, Roses said the UN has 600 aid trucks they're not letting through. Why? And God shows and said, why are the Israeli activists going to the border and throwing away food? Guys, listen, I'm not going to say the UN is not allowing. I don't know that, but I have clips here that shows Israeli protesters blocking aid going back to June, and we're going to watch it now because I don't think the media knows it or showing you guys this, and you need to see this. This is going back to June, and I actually have one from just last week, but we'll play the June one first. Sorry, what I'm trying to show in this clip is that the famine has been going on since June, since May, and I'm going to play the one now with them blocking the trucks. Hold on. Here we go.
Israeli protesters have gathered near the border to block trucks carrying humanitarian aid into Gaza. Israel recently launched a new offensive against Hamas, but it also partially lifted its 11-week blockade on food supplies. Some trucks have been allowed into Gaza this week, but the UN says the military still hasn't given them permission to distribute the aid. Without it, international experts have warned of a potential famine. Anti-aid protesters were eventually removed by police from the roads to let the trucks through.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Roses, I could tell we going to buck heads with you all night, girl. It's okay. You're going to come to learn. Come to the front of the congregation. I know you're a Zionist. So are you saying it isn't enough for Israel to offer them land, but they should also give them Israel? Nobody is saying that. Anyways, nevertheless, Gray, what's your thoughts on the clips you saw?
The clips are terrible. No one should ever be starving in today's time. I think that what's going on is that they want Americans and the rest of the world to be desensitized. I think that's what's going on, because when you don't necessarily have contact with people on an everyday basis, it's kind of hard for you to show some empathy towards a certain group because it's happening overseas. So I feel like that Israel is trying to say that it's propaganda and that it's a lie. So getting this type of information out and showing these type of videos was good, so that we can talk about this and people know that what's really going on.
Yeah, and shout out to Kelly Corinne. She sent a $9.99 super chat. Salute to the entire panel for speaking out for kids. This shouldn't even be political. Yeah, this shouldn't be political. Shouldn't be a racial thing. Kamal, I know you say you're not an expert, but what do you think about the clip that you saw? You can just comment on that.
Yeah, like I always say, man, it's fucked up when kids got to go through certain shit because of what adults is doing. That's all I see right there. Kids going through shit because of what these adults is doing, and they can't fucking come together and talk peacefully and bring some peace and shit. You feel what I'm saying? But that's really what I got from it, though. It's like, I always think if anything involving kids and turmoil is always fucked up in my eyes. So.
Oh, Lord. All right. I'm going to play the next clip. Bro said that the video didn't show no information. So I'm going to play this clip. Maybe this clip will show information and you guys will finally, I don't know, maybe it'll speak to you.
To look at the war only a few miles away. It was hazy, so it was hard to see, and the steady sound of Israeli artillery was carried away on the wind. Since my last visit, vending machines have been installed if anyone needs refreshment. From here, it feels like looking out of one world into another, not distant, but remote and isolated. So, from up here, there are essentially two visions of what's happening in that world. Israel, supported by the United States, says there's plenty of food in Gaza, and if people are going hungry, that's because Hamas has been stealing it and because the UN and others have not been distributing it in the way that they should be. Now, the other version, which is supported by Western governments, including Britain and France, and by aid agencies with decades of experience of operating in war zones, is that Israel's restrictions on the entry and the movement of food and other essential items in Gaza has created a humanitarian catastrophe that means that now people aren't just going hungry. The vulnerable, children, are starving to death. This is not a battlefield, though it might look like one. It's a food distribution point in Gaza. Bullets are kicking up the sand as men wait to get food. It's one of 4 sites run by the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, a joint Israeli-US scheme they say replaces the UN and keeps food away from Hamas. This video is of the foundation's armed American security guards opening fire.
I think you hit one.
It was filmed by a US soldier who signed up for the operation in Gaza after he retired and left, he says, when he saw American colleagues and the IDF killing civilians. The soldier is Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar, a Special Forces veteran of the US Army's Green Berets. He's in Washington. I spoke to him from a spot just near the Gaza border.
I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces shooting at the crowds of Palestinians. I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces firing a main gun tank round from the Merkava tank into a crowd of people, destroying a car of civilians that were simply driving away from the site. I witnessed mortar rounds being fired at the crowds of people to keep them controlled.
As a professional soldier with a very long career, what was your professional opinion of what was happening?
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur. Inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal. In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all of the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and U.S. contractors.
Based on the knowledge you have, do you think that you were a witness then to war crimes? I think you're saying that very emphatically.
Without question, I witnessed war crimes. I witnessed war crimes being held by the Israeli Defense Forces, without a doubt, using artillery rounds, mortar rounds, firing tank rounds into unarmed civilians is a war crime.
People can resist hunger for a long time, but in the end, their strength ebbs away and deaths can rise exponentially. And that is what seems to be happening now in Gaza. Israel insists its forces have not targeted civilians. Now we have eyewitness testimony to add to the considerable evidence that they've done so as a matter of routine. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News.
Well, I played a whole lot there, but guys, got to pay some bills. If you're watching, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Okay, so somebody said that my prior clips didn't show them anything. I had a war expert. I had a person that was there on the ground. I had actual footage. I had a whole lot. Heaven, as somebody that served in the armed forces, what do you think about that clip and what that guy had to say?
I am very glad that he is saying it out loud because I have been screaming it to my psychiatrist for the last 2 years. Like, sir, because he's a veteran too. Sir, these are war crimes. They're doing war crimes. There's white phosphorus. That's illegal. Like, wait a minute, hold on. And I think what people really, really fail to understand when they hear famine and level 5 and it does not matter how much food you get in there. So many people are going to die anyways. They're at level 5 famine. Your internal organ, your body's eating your internal organs. You're past the point of pain. It is excruciating. And this has been going on for almost 2 years. And it's about time. And honestly, from my personal, I was at the Red Line protest in DC when Biden was saying, don't go into Rafah. Rafah is gone. Rafah is gone. That was his red line. And I was there at that protest, and I knew right then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we say. It doesn't matter what we do. They're gonna do it anyways.
Heaven, what do you think about that post I showed where the guy, he said that the guy should be testifying in front of Congress? Is Congress going to even allow that to happen?
Congress is paid by AIPAC. Congress there have been so many open letters written from doctors, from United States doctors that have seen infants with sniper wounds to the head and to the chest. This is, again, almost 2 years, open letters, activists, where you have World Central Kitchen workers getting bombed. Was Hamas working in there too? It's just excuse after excuse after excuse, and for any Christian at this point to be silent because they're the oldest Christian churches are there. They're bombing where Jesus was born. There are bloodlines from the time of Jesus that have now been completely wiped off the registry. Back in 2023 in December, the heads of all the Abrahamic faiths posted a letter condemning Israel and what they were doing. The patriarchs over every Abrahamic faith. The Pope, even the prior Pope, has been condemning this. And they're still doing it. It does not matter. It does not matter what we do or say. They're gonna do it anyways.
Mia, what's
Unless
your
we
thoughts about the?
January 6th
Oh,
it. I'm just saying.
oh Lord, we don't want that. I mean, Mia, what's your thoughts on everything that you saw in the clip? I know you do a lot of research. Where you think?
I've said it before. I think I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. They are ethnically cleansing Palestinians to get them off the land because the Jews are fucking greedy. They made a backdoor deal back in 1910, back when it was the Brits controlled, and they made a backdoor deal with the Rothschild back then. And they
About
wanted that
450.
land. And since the early turn of the century, they have come and they have starved out, they have raped, they have abused, they have murdered. It does not matter. The Jews are the ones. They wanted that land. They were given it to it in a backdoor deal with the Brits. And now internationally, we're just letting them do it. We're letting them do it. We have the capabilities to remove Hamas. We have the capabilities to go in and remove Hamas. And I mean, we've removed less terrible people for less. I mean, we've wiped out and destabilized the rest of the Middle East for less. With people that are arguably less, that did more for their countries, for Christ's sake. We can literally remove Hamas. We choose not to. Why? Because we're just going to ethnically cleanse them, and that's what we're doing. We're literally watching them be ethnically cleansed because Israel wants the entire pot. I don't know why they want to be in the Middle East. I'm honestly not sure why. It's like me moving to a white supremacist neighborhood. It doesn't really make sense, like why I want to be surrounded by people that don't like me, but
They feel it's their land, and that's why they're doing it. But Rick said, "Are you saying there is no solution?" Enzo, what is the solution? What do you think us as Americans could be doing right now to take a stand against this? Is there anything, or should we just say, "Oh well, we can't have our way. Oh well."
Perfect. You asked that. Bring back JFK, the only president that didn't bow down to Israel. Bring him back. We need somebody like that because I guarantee this wouldn't be going on. The being complicit and everything like that. He would have Congress doing exactly what they need to do, stopping this. And like I said, what other war and humanitarian crisis is the ones who's perpetrating the crimes controlling the food to go help out the other side? We've done it before. Why are we not doing it now, guys? Come on, Congress. Get your shit together. Come on,
Wait,
Trump.
Enzo, you just said it. What we need to be doing is picking up the phones, going on X, adding all your fucking Congress people. We don't want our money going there. That's what needs to be done. It's that simple. Adding AOC. AOC, you claim you care, but you voted. You voted for this, AOC. Calling her out. Shout out to what's that one lady, Enzo? We talked about her. MTG, y'all talk shit on her, but at least Marjorie Taylor Greene took a stand. This is what we can do. Writing our Congress people. There's all sorts of ways. You don't even need to pick up the phone anymore. You can go on X. Oh, Heaven, what should we do then?
I've been calling them. I've been
So call
calling them.
them.
I've been calling them. I've been calling them. I have been ignored and ignored and ignored. Except I did get a letter from Ted Budd about money for the VA or something. I don't know. It was nothing to do with what I called about. What we need to do is we need to take the power back. We need to think smarter than them because we are. We need to touch the one thing that they don't want touched, their money. We need to block one highway, one railway, one airport, and the ports in each state simultaneously.
Well, I'm not
It'll
condoning
only
that.
take
As a
500.
conservative, I can't support that. I
Hey,
don't
we'll do
believe
flash
blocking the
mob dances.
highways, the this, the that. I'm gonna tell y'all why I don't believe
Hey,
that. And Enzo,
it,
Mia, you probably agree with me.
it's their
I don't agree
money.
with that
As
because
long as we say, here,
there's
stop the
people that need to
movement.
get through on the highways. There's innocent people that will hurt. There is people having babies. Somebody might be dying. I don't support that at all. I support using your voice though.
I will say in Florida, they can
But if they don't listen, so then
run you
what?
over, right?
They'll run you over there.
Over in
They don't
Florida.
play.
So what are
If
you
Even in
doing
the
in
okay,
Northeast,
Florida?
so
they'll do it up here
railways.
just because.
If you're not disrupting the highway, you're disrupting the railways, where you're not having their products moving by rail. As long as it's causing some sort of disruption to their way of doing things, and what they care about is capital. They don't care about life, they care about capital. So if we mess with their capital, then they'll care. They do not care about our voices. We got to block their capital and say, hey, look, enough is enough, because you're not listening to us. We've been protesting. I mean, look at the No Kings protest. That was massive and global. They just had a protest in Scotland against Trump.
Gray and Kamal. I'm gonna have Gray go first, Kamal. Gray, what can be done? Is there anything that can be done?
Like I always say on a new party, always vote. Basically, you vote and you vote for the people who you feel like are gonna get things done the right way and what you think they're gonna do. I'm not gonna necessarily say Kamala Harris was gonna be any different. Richard Nixon himself said it doesn't matter what party's in the White House, Israel's always gonna be an ally. So I feel like it's gonna be very hard to like convince America to not work with Israel. But as far as a humanitarian crisis, I think that you just have to talk about it and try to get these things done. I know people were protesting Kamala's campaign, and they were getting people to talk about it. So I feel like you have to get people to talk about it. One guy at the Super Bowl halftime show that had a Palestinian flag. So people are trying to get something done. It's just that America's interest may be not what is great for the people in Palestine.
Oh, Black people been voting for the Democrats. Y'all still ain't got no reparation. Y'all still ain't got no hate crime bill. AOC supposedly is supposed to be a friend to these people, an ally to Gaza, an ally to the middle, the Palestinians, free Gaza movement. You know what I'm saying? Free Palestine movement. But they voted her in. She didn't do anything. What do you think about that? Is voting the way, Kamal, from your experience on what you've been trying to do for your people?
Well, first of all, I voted for Cornel West, and as many of us that either sat out or voted for a damn third party. I know a good majority of us is still on that Democratic plantation, listening to Democratic shills like Roland Martin and all the rest of them butter biscuit eating motherfuckers. You feel me? But just don't get it effed up, y'all. I'm not a Republican either, man. I'm a policy man. I'm after policies. You feel me? So we know AOC and the Democrat games and stuff like that they play. Look, it's a good majority of us now that's starting to wake up and be like, nah, we just not going to just vote for Democrat. All right. So with that being said, what you wanted to know about? You said is voting going to help?
Yes. Does voting help at this point? Is voting going to be the way where we could stop seeing our American paying tax dollars going over to Israel to kill children? Because that's where we're at.
I mean, shit, if Richard Nixon said they going to be in cahoots with AIPAC and Israel and shit, and I don't think the voting going to help. Whoever you vote in, they're going to be running with AIPAC and Israel. That's what it seemed like. It don't matter, Democrat, Republican. It don't seem like it fucking matter to be a thou wow with y'all. You know what I mean? Sometimes maybe this. Maybe withhold your vote. I mean, my ancestors also fought for that option, right? I mean, you don't have to go out there and vote if both parties is on bullshit. Wouldn't that be how like a third party happen? Ain't that what happened back in the day? It was like the wigs.
I thought it's our constitutional obligation to overthrow a government that's not working for the people. I think that's in the Constitution. I'm pretty sure it says that somewhere.
Does it, Enzo?
Yeah, it does. There's the famous clip from it from National Treasure when he's standing when Nicolas Cage and what's his name were standing there.
I'll go take a
looking
look.
at
I
him,
have
and
a
the guy
That
goes,
just retired in
"I have no idea what
2021.
you're talking about."
Okay.
He's like, "Wow, that's beautiful. I have no idea what you just said." And Nicolas Cage broke it down, and it's literally like, "Yeah, we as the people have the rights to overthrow a government that is not for the people, that is not working for the people." In
Specifically.
English nowadays, yeah.
So would that make it like the way you prove that is if most people just stop voting, then it's kind of like it's not working in a sense? Or how would you even come to that conclusion? You feel what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's already been shown. There's been studies done that if we want it, like 30% of the time it's going to happen whether we want it or don't. It really has. It doesn't matter which way we vote, really.
Well, let me ask this:
it's corporate interest.
How can we do that shit without getting thrown in jail? That's what it's in the Constitution, but
yeah,
you see if you do
we'll have to see it. We can't talk about this stuff in the open.
Why not? Y'all talk about Jewish people in the open right now. Shit, we might as well go all the way.
So I've always said
well,
this,
if you
right,
want to go all the
that-
way, because you know who, well, then we could talk about Congo and Sudan too, because that all ties in, and Dan Gertler, and if we want to bring it all the way up, then we could bring it all the way up. We talking about Zionism and the Jews.
So, like I was saying,
Okay, guys. Well, hold on. All right,
Um,
let's bring this back. I want to play this clip by the Settlers from the Settlers. Now I'm about to play a pretty powerful clip, though. All right, guys. So some of you guys touched on this, or actually Mia did. This is basically a land grab, and I'm going to play this clip. This is, I guess you could call herself the godmother of the whole settler Zionist movement. I'm about to play the clip now. Jesus Christ. I'm going to end there. I can't take no more. And this is the godmother of settlers. Before we begin, yo, some of y'all in the chat, y'all wilding tonight. I'm going to be pulling a Kamal tonight. I mean, really. Gazans, what isn't theirs, and Israel has even gone as far to offer it, and it was denied. Am I really? Are you sure you're half Moroccan, girl? Like, seriously, I can't believe what I just heard. And I'm gonna let Enzo go first. Enzo, based on what you see, is it Gazans that's taking the land, or is it the settlers? I mean, they already have a plan for Gaza, and Homegirl wrote this while the clip was playing. I didn't make this up, guys. This is a real clip. It wasn't doctored. This really was said.
Listen, you know where I stand with this. This doesn't reflect to everybody. I'm not gonna say who, have a plan for everywhere, and they've had it for a long time. There's no disputing that it is the settlers taking it from them, and it's disgusting that there's a humanitarian crisis over there. And I'm not going to repeat what dude said, but there's little comments of these certain people in Lebanon as well as Gaza, because I mean this isn't just happening in Gaza, it's been happening in Lebanon too, but that hasn't been reported that much, that Israel's been firing into them, trying to get rid of them. 100% the settlers. They want this land for whatever reason, because they want to get rid of all these people that they deem are not appropriate ethnic cleansing. There's plenty of other countries in the world that share borders that they don't fight like this to take their land. Look at Haiti and the Dominican Republic. 2 different cultures. Do you see them fighting like that? No. America and Mexico. 2 completely different cultures. Do you see us fighting like that? No. All of the European nations, they're not fighting like that, and they're all different cultures. Why is it that they can't get along? Why is it that the Israelis have to have special treatment and treat these people a certain way? I'm going to stop before I get mean.
Okay, Miss Ordained Minister. Foster said Islamists always support each other, even if they're all in the wrong. They celebrate October 7th and September 11th. Islam is tribalism and nepotism on steroids. And RJ said not all Palestinians are Muslims. Some are Christian and Jewish. Would you like to comment on that?
That is very true. not all Palestinians are Muslims. Palestine, in and of itself, was not a specific Islamic region when the Balfour Declaration happened, and they started moving Jews into Palestine, which is well documented with historical photos and evidence. So they could say what they want. They are taking someone else's land that they were invited to. Everybody lived alongside each other perfectly fine. Jews, Arabs, I'll say Christians. It's a trilogy. It's not one religion or the other. It's a trilogy. You have to read all three books. The Quran mentions Jesus. The Quran talks about Jesus. Now, I'm not just on one religion. I study all of the religions, because who am I to say what is the truth? But what I see, they're the Abrahamic faiths. They're all the sons of Abraham, which means technically they're all related, right? Which means that it's all three books together, read in succession, and they're just siblings fighting each other. Is that like a dumbed down version?
It talks about this in the Bible, them fighting each other. If we want to get on the theologian thing, it basically, the people you're talking about is Isaac and Ishmael, and Ishmael is the ancestor for the Arab people, and Isaac is the ancestor for the Jewish people. And God tells Abraham that Ishmael's people are going to fight against these people. They're going to be a donkey of a man and fight against the people to the end of time. So it says this in religious texts.
Yes, there are many, many studies on Revelations, the unveiling, which kind of sounds like we're in that unveiling stage with all of these truths coming out, or untruths, who knows?
Yeah, Mia, what's your thoughts?
I mean, it's still a land grab. It's still an ethnic cleansing. I mean, and that lady that the way that woman is just happy and proud to just essentially steal land that isn't hers. She's a settler. She readily admits she's a settler. So if you're a settler, that land's not yours inherently. Just by calling yourself a settler, you have to settle someplace. That is not your home. That is not your place of being. Your family doesn't come from there. You were from one place and you have settled here. So they readily admit the plan is to steal as much land as they possibly can. They're already planning their developments. Obviously, she's already talking about resettling Gaza with her Jewish compatriots. I mean, the plan has been in motion for over 100 years, and we're just watching the implementation of it. It's a shame. It's no good. And unfortunately, AIPAC owns almost every single senator and congressman. So the United States is going to be complicit, and our tax money is going to continue to go there, I guess, unless we all decide we don't want to pay taxes anymore as a whole, which, I mean, taxation is theft. So if we wanted to do that, I'd like to keep my whole check. So I don't know about the rest of you, but what I would really like to see would be Palestinians defeat Hamas themselves. I want to see them push to the point where they will take it amongst themselves. Not every Palestinian is Hamas. Hamas represents a small number of Palestinians, a small number. I mean, ordinary Palestinians it's probably 9-1. It's probably 9 ordinary and 1 Hamas at this point in time, numbers wise. I want the Palestinians to overthrow Hamas and to prove to the world that they are trying to be in a different direction, that they are getting away from terrorism, and hopefully that it would hopefully bring the rest of the world in to say, hey, okay, now they're going to do it. Because the problem a lot of people have at this point in time is Hamas is still in control. And especially for Americans, that's a hard pill to swallow because we have been conditioned to dislike Muslims and we've been conditioned to dislike terrorism. And we've been conditioned to always be on the side of the Jews. So until the Palestinians rise up and overthrow Hamas, it's going to be difficult to get a large group of Americans to really, truly be on their side and want to help, unfortunately. So I feel like Palestinians are definitely going to have to overthrow Hamas to save themselves at this point in time.
Well, I'm going to end on this last clip about them bombing the church, and then Kamal, I'll have you go first. If you guys are watching, please hit the like button, tap the screen. Thank you for watching.
That one and only Catholic church in Gaza was bombed, was attacked. You can't deny the fact that churches have been targeted in the West Bank as well. People can lie to us as much as they want, but the videos are out there.
How
the
do you
images
blow
are
up
out
a
there.
church if you've got munitions, laser-guided munitions that are so sophisticated that they can take out, a guy in an SUV from 30,000 feet? How do you blow up a church with a giant cross on top of it?
It was just an accident, Tucker. It was an accident.
It's not the first church that's
No,
been blown
it's
up.
not.
It's
And
not
it
even
wasn't an
close.
accident.
What is the answer? Can anyone get an answer?
I know the answer. Israel wants a Jewish state and they want to expand. They have something known as the Greater Israel Project. They intend to annex the whole of the West Bank. In fact, Miriam Adelson legally bribed Donald Trump to ensure that happens. And
All right, Kamal, I know you're not an expert on any of this, but what do you think about the last church being bombed? Do you have any thoughts?
You're right. I'm not an expert on this. I'm learning a lot of shit from y'all. You feel me? And John, I think I got these glasses at H&M or some shit like that. Them bombing the church. I mean, it looks like it's cloaked in white supremacy. Let's be real. All I hear from that lady is a bunch of white supremacy. That scary Jewish lady. What the hell's her name again?
Gabriella Wheat? Gabriella something, right?
That's
She's
her name.
the godmother of the settlements. Yeah, the godmother of the settlements. That's her whole thing. Is she believes
Daniela
in
White.
having a Daniela White. Sorry,
Daniela White. Y'all mark my word. In 5 years, they're gonna make a Netflix series out of her. They're gonna call it The Settlers, and watch it be.
That is the name of the documentary, The Settlers.
I'm telling y'all. Like, bro, she feels like she came out of a scary movie. When she laughed at bro, I was terrified for the interview. I'm like, bro, she about to kill you, bro. She gave that evil ass laugh. I'm like, man. But yeah, like bombing churches, talking about we taking over this land and blah blah blah. I don't know. Shit just seems that's why this is a key point why at times when we talk like when us Black Americans talk about white supremacy, we don't separate Jewish people and white people. We don't do that shit. A lot of people love to do that with us, and this is a prime example why we don't do the shit. Because this lady is Jewish, but she's practicing white supremacy to a fucking T. Like it's the same thing. Like, So
I agree. It is a form of white supremacy. Kamal is right. It's a form of supremacy. And even comments like this, and I'm going to have Heaven go first. They are gaslighting propaganda buzzwords used to gain sympathy for Hamas and hate for Israel, and the ignorant fall for it. Genocide, occupation, famine, ethnic cleansing, educide, infanticide. Heaven, what do you have to say to that?
Oh, wait. They're saying that Israel's doing that to Gaza, not the other way around. Or they?
Yes. No, that he's saying that this is propaganda we're putting out, that Gaza and Hamas did this to them because October 7th is the justification for unaliving 400,000 people. And listen, October 7th was disgusting. I'm not taking that, but this is their justification for it, pretty much.
Oh, that's interesting. This book right here from the Library of Congress from 1961, The Story of the Jewish People. And this is from Settlement of America through Israel Today, where the Jewish people claim that they settled America. So what is propaganda? Because this is in the Congress, the Library of Congress, in the United States Library of Congress. So we want to talk about propaganda. How far back does that go? 1961 and probably further back. So what my eyes have seen versus what's being said, I have seen children burning. I have multiple friends in Palestine now. Zionism in and of itself fuels anti-Semitism and makes Jewish people unsafe. Jewish people deserve to be safe anywhere they go. They shouldn't just have to have one state to be safe.
True.
And I think one of the clips that you showed earlier, I think there was context missing that there's a lookout point where people are going and looking out, and school children are going and looking out to watch other kids get bombed and are excited about that. What kind of propaganda is that? Would you allow your child to go, like, you know, you put the quarter in the little binoculars and, oh, let's go watch us blow people up? Is that what we want to teach our children? Because that's what's being
No.
taught to children in Israel.
And we
Because
never
that is what is,
when
and
September 11th
that's
happened.
unacceptable.
We never
It's
cared. I remember as a little girl, the day that we invaded Iraq, I remember watching that in fair, but feeling sadness and pride for my soldiers that went and invaded Iraq, knowing they had to, because this is what we were being told, but I never felt happy. I never felt excitement. So to me, that's unhuman and inhumane. And anyone celebrating that, well, you guys are not human. I'm sorry.
I think it's a mental disorder if you can look at another human being and not acknowledge that they're a human. There is something wrong with your actual brain, because there's no way that you can look at that. It's got to be a cognitive disconnect in someone's brain to not be able to look at another human being and see them as human.
Well, something messed up is going on. I mean, the amount of intel and equipment that the United States shares with Israel, they could have eliminated Hamas within 60 days of October 7th, 2 years ago, and none of this would have happened. We have the technology. We have everything. We give them everything. So they
Aaron
are just
Bushnell
purposely
self-immolated for that.
Right. I mean, they
For
are
that.
literally doing this to starve and ethnically cleanse the land. Because like I said, we have the means, the capabilities, and the motivation to go in there, eliminate Hamas, and get out. It didn't have to carry on this long. It didn't have to be this much starvation, bloodshed, and so on and so forth. It didn't have to be this way. They want it to be this way because they're ethnically cleansing the land for the godmother of the little Jewish lady to go in there and do her settlements. They're grabbing the land and they're ethnically cleansing it. Like I said, like this is what they don't care.
They put up the
they're
map
killing these
of
people
the
to kill them
greater
now.
Israel in March, before October 7th, March. Benjamin Netanyahu was, I think it was the World Economic Forum or one of those global events, and he held up a map, and on that, the map that he showed was Greater Israel. That's what they're going for. Absolutely.
Well, guys, we're going to do some closing thoughts so we can end at the 2-hour mark. I want to thank Heaven for being a guest tonight. I'm going to let Enzo go first. Enzo, what's your closing thoughts?
So, we talked about it a lot tonight. Tonight was was a great episode. One thing that I just found out actually that I was going to touch on the podcast was that there was actually a magnitude 8.7 earthquake right off the coast of Alaska and Russia, and parts of the East Coast or the West Coast is actually under warning and watches right now for that. So anybody who's on the West Coast, please stay safe out there. Wish you guys the best with all that. Like, it's another unfortunate situation. But what I'm really going to hit on the most is the situation that's going on in Gaza. I mean, this is not, like I've been saying for a while now, this is not a red versus blue black versus white. This is literally a humanitarian issue for everybody. Everybody needs to pay attention to this. Everybody needs to wake up. Everybody needs to say things about this and talk about this. Talk to your senators, talk to your Congress people. Do what you guys can to make this aware, so atrocities like this don't happen. We've gone through things like this before, and we've had solutions for it after the Holocaust and everything like that. Why are we going to allow this to happen again? Because it's not a group of Jewish people this time. Why is it okay for them to do this to other people? This needs to stop. And I can't keep saying enough. I'm disgusted in what's going on. The children, that's the biggest thing for me, is the children that are being slaughtered. They don't deserve this. You want to go after the military combatants? Go after the military combatants. Go after them. Leave the churches alone. Leave the hospitals alone. Leave the mothers and the children alone. That's all I got.
That was powerful, Enzo. Okay, Mia, what's your closing thoughts?
Great episode. Sorry I missed half of it. But I just want to say that it doesn't matter your race, your religion, your creed, your gender, nothing. Everybody deserves to be safe. Everybody deserves clean air, clean food, clean water, and life and liberty. Nobody deserves to have their land stripped from them. Nobody deserves to have people taking pictures of their land as it's being bombed. And I think what is happening in Gaza and what is happening in Palestine as a whole to Palestinians is a land grab. That is ultimately Israel is just starving them out. They're grabbing the land and they're ethnically cleansing that place because they feel that they are in the right. And from what we've seen from the videos we've seen tonight shows that they believe they are in the right. They believe that that is their land and they're going to do whatever they can to take it. And I guess at this point in time, until internationally everybody steps in, we're going to watch the ending of the Palestinians and the hostile takeover of Gaza from Israel.
Man, chat is on fire tonight. Come on, what's your closing thoughts?
First of all, shout out to the panel. I learned a lot this episode. These one of them episodes where I learned the gift of shutting the fuck up and listening, which some of y'all need to learn to do. Especially some of y'all in the chat. I see y'all chatting away and some of y'all sound stupid as hell. Second of all, when anything happened to kids, that shit is fucked up. I'm seeing like the kids out there are suffering because of what adults are doing. That ain't never cool. You feel me? But like I said, I'm not an expert in this situation. I learned a lot, especially some of the history that's going on with Israel and Palestine and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Second, I wanted to say this is the first time I've seen a manifesto where they didn't say they hate niggas. That was crazy. You feel me? And third, you know, today I was good in the chat, not clowning somebody, but this goddamn dweeb 3 Days of Darkness, I dare you talk about one of our legends, one of the ancestors, and they're going to put a spiritual foot in your ass. Don't you dare talk about MLK. That's your filthy mouth. You better shut the hell up, bruh. God damn. Anyway, yeah, he keeps saying take the picture. He double it. Shut your Rudy Poo ass up, bruh. It's just shut up. All right. God damn. But anyway, like I said, I learned a lot from this subject, and this is why I like coming onto the new party, because there are subjects that I'm not really versed in that y'all are well versed in, and I learned a lot from it. So with that being said, in my chat, I got the new party pin to the top of the chat. Y'all go subscribe to them, and y'all also hit that notification bell so y'all know when they go live. You feel me? And then on my end, Kamal Johnson Network. Also hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. And shout out to Buana, man. It's the first time we in the chat. We didn't even clown each other, man. I call that growth.
Well, we just were talking about something pretty hot tonight.
Yeah, we stayed on task. I didn't hear not one joke from Buana. That's growth right there. You know.
But guys, please go support Kamal Johnson Network. He goes live daily, I think around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is that right, Kamal? around about that time.
I usually go live at 1:30 to 2 Pacific time.
Pacific Standard.
I'm on the
Okay.
West Coast. So that's 4:35 Eastern time, and I'll go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's when I go live. So
Yeah. All right, Heaven, the newest addition to the Man Cave. What's your closing thoughts?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me a guest on here. This is a really important topic that really needs to get pushed to the front of everybody's mind. We are watching history right now. This is our generation's Holocaust, and we all need to have our eyes on it, regardless of our views. Make sure you're documenting this as much as you can. We are all human, and we all deserve basic human rights and dignity and respect. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for tonight.
On Heaven, we'll be back on tomorrow night on the Man Cave. If you guys are watching, please hit that notification.
Yo, Nora,
Mhm.
can you pull up this comment from 3 days of dweebness? You see this shit in the chat?
Which one? Oh,
The latest one.
Oh,
what the heck? Nigga. God damn.
I mean, I knew about the prostitutes, but I didn't know about any homosexuality. Jesus Christ.
Man, you better shut your ass up trying to tarnish one of our legends, man. Shut your weak ass up. This is such a good episode.
President.
God damn. It's such a good episode, and we got to have this shit in the chat.
Just ignore him. They're a bunch of idiots tonight on all sides. Gray, what's your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts is I'll bring this back to politics. When Jewish people live abroad, they want left-wing policies. So basically, more liberal things where everybody's being treated fairly, equality, melting pot. But with Israel right now, it seems to be very right-wing policies where it's more for fascist government, where it's like, we want separation and control. So I would just say treat people how you want to be treated because, all people are lots of Jewish people are living internationally, and you wouldn't want that to happen to them. And to me, I still feel like the best thing to do is to vote. And like I always say on a new party, always vote.
Okay. Jesus, I am not suicidal. Let me start by saying that. Let's get one thing straight. You can stand up to anti-Semitism and still cry out for starving children in Gaza. Those are not opposing values. They're both rooted in basic human decency. I will never tolerate hate against Jewish people, ever. That's not activism. That's bigotry, and it needs to be shut down. But calling out a government, the Israeli government, the IDF, for bombing hospitals, blocking food, and killing children, it's not anti-Semitic. It's accountability. And the minute we let that line burn, the opposers win. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about human survival. Babies are starving. Parents are digging children out of rubble. And we're being told to stay silent out of fear for being labeled anti-Semitic. No, silence in the face of genocide isn't neutrality, it's complicity, and we can't afford that anymore. I stand against anti-Semitism. I stand with my Jewish brothers and sisters everywhere. And I also stand with the people of Gaza because real solidarity doesn't pick sides. It protects lives, all lives. #Free Palestine. #God bless. #Thank you, America. Good night.